Greetings, this is your girl Minister Asia. I'm back for part 2 of soul surgery. Honey, I was telling you guys, like Beyonce said, that perfection is a disease of a nation. You're trying to fix something that you can't see, but it's the soul that needs the surgery. And a lot of times the enemy tells us to hide things. Isn't that something? Hide things, conceal it. But I remember a book that Pastor Paula White wrote back, a long time ago in the early 2000s. Deal with it. You can't conquer what you won't confront. You can't confront what you don't identify. And people think that it's not Christ-like to confront people and say, hey, what's your motives in my life? What's the deal? Why are you here? What's up? But it is. Jesus Christ came off the throne and confronted Saul. He said, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Isn't that something? My mission and my goal and my heart is to be just like him. And in this season, even though people don't understand what I'm doing, I have to be a straight shooter. I have been bullied. I have been walked over, trampled upon in every capacity, relationally, professionally, ministerially, all kind of stuff. And in this season, I'm standing up for what I believe in. I'm not being passive. I'm not trying to appease people or be a people pleaser. But in this season, I'm doing surgery on my soul so that I can be emotionally healthy and mentally sound and everything, all other capacities and rights in my life. I'm like just doing the work on myself first, like I said in part 1. So today is day 13. If you are following along with the Faithful 40, and I'm reading Dr. Cindy Trim's book, The Soul Fast. Day 13 is all about resting. When I worked as a vision center manager right after I lost Jeremiah, I know that was a trick of the enemy, because when I had my miscarriage, after everything was over, I just started working all the time. I would get locked in the vision center. Work, 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 work. Like Rihanna, work, 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 work. I never stopped working. And then I got in ministry and I worked, work, 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 work. I remember one time when we were starting open up hosannas and stuff like that. We hadn't had a day off in like 31 days. I just worked, work, 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 work. And I can look at my feet. My feet were swollen. Maurice is always on, like, your feet look like a ham hock when we first got back together. And my feet were swollen. I had just so much wear and tear on my body. But I was looking at the natural effects of it and how it took a toll on my body. But I never thought about or considered what all that work did and took a toll on my soul and my mind and my spirit. So resting. And I see my camera slowing. I know that's just a distraction of the enemy. This video is going forward. I'm not stopping it. It is what it is. Resting. The literal definition for the word rest is to cease work or movement in order to relax, refresh, and recover strength. The joy of the Lord is our strength. When we enter into his rest, we can tap into his joy. When we're overworked, whether it's ministry or our natural occupation, when we're overworked, we're stressed out, and stress creates touches our adrenaline and cortisol glands, our adrenal glands, and it produces cortisol, and cortisol causes memory problems and stress and belly fat and all that you will get into as we read the book. And but she didn't say belly fat. I just knew that. Yay. And it just really takes us out of God's intended purpose for our life. So as we enter into God's rest, we cease work and movement in order to relax, refresh, and recover our strength to get back our joy. Isn't that something? At night, I had trained myself, even when I was a little girl, to think about stuff and imagine stuff and daydream. And then as I get into that deep daydream, then before I know it, I'll go to sleep. But now the Lord is teaching me how to quiet my soul. And I just don't think about anything. And I take deep breaths and I just listen and listen and quiet my soul. And as I quiet my soul and get tranquil before the Lord, I can feel his presence and then I can ease off to sleep. And that's what God is calling us to do. As we're doing this soul surgery, he's calling us to rest and quiet our souls. I learned in the book that a quiet mind means that you can wholly possess your mind. If you can learn how to quiet your mind, that means you can rule over it and take authority over it by the Spirit of the living God, by the Holy Ghost. And if you have a calm spirit, that means that you're possessing your whole self. And so when you confront, it's not a negative, like, you trying to really fight somebody. It's like, let's be real. What's the deal? How can we fix this? This is an open door policy. Come on in and let's make these necessary changes so that we can reap the results and benefits that God has for us, And so our souls were designed to keep pace with God. When we are overworked, too stressed, not resting, not being ourselves, then guess what? We lose God. We miss our pace. We get out of the race and we get left behind. And the world is moving on. And then 5 years pass and 10 years pass and 12 years pass. And you still have that same issue because you never gave your issue to God. That's why you have to take time to rest. Rest in God. Rest in God. Hebrews 4, that God kind of rest. Remember I talked about the stress. Stress, activates our adrenal glands and then the cortisol, and then it messes with our concentration and it causes memory problems as well as belly fat. And we become weak and we lose focus. If the enemy can cause you to lose focus, then you will not work on your vision. The Bible says without vision, people cast off restraints, those things that hold us back from sin, those things that keep us anchored in there, that keeps us clink, locked down and all that good stuff. But without vision, the people perish. That means they die. And if you can't focus on your vision, you will die in that place. Your dreams will die in that place. Enter into the rest of God. And so, working in the natural can be oppressive, enslave you, and causes all types of bondage. I started working when I was 15 years old. And I worked from 15 to 32. I may have had one or two little spots where I quit a job and waited on another job or something like that. And like right now, I haven't been working in 8 months. 8 is the number of a new beginning. And it's not ironic that God birthed forth this month, because as my new beginning takes place, he is not going to allow any of this residue from former employers or former anything to hinder the working that I'm doing for the kingdom here on the Ambassador's Hour, for loving people by sharing Christ and things of that nature. And he's not going to allow me to take this baggage to my next position that he's going to bless me with. I'm going to go in with a clear mind, calculated thoughts, and I'm going to be able to be the best version of myself, be the most authentic individual there is. There are 2 types of rest described in the Bible. There's the Sabbath, and there's sleep. Both are instituted by God. Our lives are meant to have ebbs and flows, just like waves or a heartbeat or a cadence in a drum or a cadence in a musical piece. I used to be in chorus for like 7 years. We used to mark time and keep up pace. And when you're reading music, you have to know how to stay on pace. And our heart beats at a certain pace. We can check our pulse. And God has everything to be on a rhythm. But if we get out of rhythm, then our life gets messed up and it causes chaos and opposite and adverse results. Like Newton's law, every action has an equal but opposite reaction. Isn't that something? And so our soul must be quieted and stilled, like be still and see the salvation of the Lord. Our soul must be quieted and stilled in order to be fortified and renewed. Sleep has immense benefits. Some mentioned in the book were memory filtration and solidification, meaning that as we get ready to go to sleep and we rest in the Lord, He solidifies our memory, He fortifies our soul, He allows us to remember and retain things that were taught to us. I remember they used to tell us to put our book under the pillow, and it's like osmosis, not osmosis, that's different. But anyway, you can remember what you studied by doing that. The brain connections are reinforced. That means that our nerve endings on our brain are reinforced, and you receive the benefit of what you do without having to repeat the learning process. So I thought that was really awesome. It says scientists believe deep sleeps is as important to strengthen your skills as what you do while you are awake. Isn't that something? We are increased while we sleep. And so it's important for us to take that Sabbath day to rest and to be rejuvenated and to cease the labor. Even God Himself rested. He created the earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day He rested. And if God needed rest, don't you think we needed rest as well? The 13th characteristic for an authentic individual is uniqueness. How ironic. My name is Asia Paris. Very little of us out there. This is only the one and only I knew from 1983 until probably like when Facebook was formed. I think I went on Snapchat the other day to activate my Snapchat, and I put Asia Paris, and they're like, this username is taken. I'm like, really? I used to be the only one, but there's no Asia Paris Circe, even though there is an Asia P Circe on Facebook. That is not me. Isn't that something? So unique means the quality of being the only one of its kind. My voice, my pitch, my mannerisms, isn't that something? My broad vernacular, my style, ain't nobody like me. Often imitated, but never duplicated. There will never ever be another Asia Paris. And so this day was so pertinent for me because it was like it liberated me all the more, because it made me want to and seek to and thrive to and fight to and do whatever to be just me. I'm gonna rest. I'm going to cease from my labor. I'm going to confront the issues I need to confront. I'm going to be unique and just be myself. And that's going to be just the most, it's easy for me now. I'm like, whoever would have thought this was be me? My sugar coating, tongue biting, quiet self. But this is my new normal. And I love it. I'm loving it. Like McDonald's. I'm loving it. Never did I ever think I have the courage to sing on a camera, sing out loud, all off pitch. I'm free. Yay. Freedom. Freedom. That's Eddie James. You've never heard of him, you need to look into him, his song, his worship song, I Need You. Oh my God, it'll take you to another dimension in God. I got my worship back in this season. I got my praise back in this season. I got my laugh back in this season. I got my joy back in this season. I've done so much soul surgery and purged all the hurts, the pains, the disappointments, the sadness, the shame, everything that the enemy thought he could hold me captive with. I went after it. I sure did. Really, I did. And as I've reached and achieved this point, I'm really becoming. I'm really tapping into this thing. So I have somewhere to go. I'm just going to be blunt. I'm about to go to Waffle House and I'm about to eat. And when I eat, I'm going to eat very, very good. So as I go to Waffle House and I get ready to eat, I'm going to come back for part 3 of this video. Soul surgery. And so I hope you join me in part 3, because in part 3, I'm going to go through the nuts and bolts of day 13, resting in uniqueness, and read and allow you to see Dr. Cindy Trim's perspective. These 2 videos were my perspective, but I always want to offer balance and give you the best information, because see, knowledge is power. You know what I'm saying? If you get the correct and adequate knowledge about something, then it gives you power and it liberates you. So I'll come back. I'll do part 3. Hopefully you join me. This is day 13. I'm doing my work. You see it in the book. I love you. About to go to Waffle House and grab. If you in Perry, come join me. Maybe you'll pick up my tab. I love you. Goodbye for now.